But for now, let's talk to Bill in California. Bill, what you got for us today?
Well, hello there.
Howdy.
Well, I basically, shall we say, I started out early in life as a Christian, and I was born into a Southern Baptist family. Some people will say, "Oh, I was born Southern Baptist." And it's like, no, you're not. You were born. Actually, all of us are born as atheists. But so I was raised in Southern Baptist, and I guess I started drifting away because I was married to a lady who had rheumatoid arthritis. And of course, all the prayers that were offered to her and for her, nothing ever happened. She just kept getting worse.
Yeah.
So,
sorry to hear that.
And I mean, I was really practicing Southern Baptist back in, this was back in like 81, 82. And my wife had been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis in 77. And she had 4 joint replacements. And basically the long and short of it is, of course, prayer never worked.
Sure.
So I came up with a saying, nothing fails like prayer. And then I started really looking into things. And in 1995, I think it was July, I joined the Libertarian Party and realized at that time that we all need freedom and liberty, and basically this country was founded for that. And then I also looked into the history of our forefathers, and our forefathers were either deists or atheists. Thomas Paine was definitely an atheist. And so, if you look at how the country was founded, and then if you look at the 9th article, and I call it that way instead of the Second Amendment, because in the preamble to the Bill of Rights, it says these 10 articles have to be added. So that made the first 10 amendments articles. So they cannot be repealed. Anyhow.
Yeah, so to sort of make sure I'm following you, you had this experience where you watched and witnessed your wife suffering despite all of the commitment, all of the loving prayers and everything else that were offered, began to ask some questions, began to realize that there is sort of a mythology around Christianity in this nation that is not entirely accurate. And as you started to scratch the surface on that, came to some new ideas. Is there anything that you might offer to people listening today? Anything about your journey or your experience that you think might be valuable for somebody else who's having questions about the nature of reality?
Of course. I didn't mean to interrupt you there. Basically, my jaunt into atheism, shall we say, started after I joined the Libertarian Party in 95, because Jim Lewis, the gentleman who was the personnel director of the Libertarian Party in Connecticut, because that's where I was at the time, really got me into libertarianism and into the history of this country and into the history of religion, actually. And the last words that man had ever said to me was, "Remember this, Bill, politicians and priests, 2 vultures hatched from the same egg." And that might be a slap on the vultures. But unfortunately, he died 2 days after that, and he had a library of over 2,000 books. And I happened to go through a little bit of his library after he died, because he was in my house. And there was a book that he had called Atheism, The Case Against God by George Smith. I read that, and there was no turning back after that. And then I actually read the Bible cover to cover. All I did was read it. I didn't study it, so I don't remember, everything that's in there, but I do remember some things. And I mean, there's so much inhumanity in the Bible. I don't know how anyone could follow that God. And then after reading all of that, I actually talked to my mother, and my mother, she says, of all my kids, you are the smartest. So I thought you would be the one to maintain the faith. And I thought to myself, I didn't tell this to her, mind you, but I thought to myself, Mom, if I'm the smartest and I'm the atheist, what does that tell you? So that was back in 2000. And
yeah, I appreciate that you were able to kind of release yourself from some of these problematic beliefs, and that you were able to sort for yourself what is I guess, more rational view on the world. Thank you for sharing that story with us. Is there anything else, any sort of last thoughts that you would like to leave with our audience today? Anything that you want to make sure that the world knows about your experience?
Well, my last thoughts, I'm currently living in a veteran housing project that was built specifically for veterans. And there's 48 apartments for veterans and so on and so forth. And what I find is that the Christians in here who are Christian, they basically are more against, shall we say, the atheist people and so on and so forth. I've got one gentleman that he was my friend for quite a while until he found out I was atheist. And I mean, this guy here, he's really a grumpy old man. He's 77 years old, and I mean, he supposedly is a Christian, but he does not act like Jesus at all.
Yeah, there's a lot of that going around.
So, people that are Christian actually need to read about their supposed savior and start acting like him.
Sure.
Except of course for the time that he cursed the fig tree for not being in season.
Sure. Yeah. We've been finding all kinds of exceptions here. So thank you for your time. Thank you for your story. And I hope you have a great rest of your holiday, great rest of your Sunday. Take care, and thank you so much.
Great rest of my Sunday, yeah, because actually this is a pagan holiday, and the reason that the Christians adopted it, of course, is because they wanted to attract the pagans into their fold, so to speak, and they did the same thing with Christmas. And because Christmas, the reason that Christmas is celebrated on December 25th is because the pagans, the northern pagans, they saw the sun stop moving south on December 21st, and then they felt that it started back up again on the 25th because of the way the stars are aligned. And so that was, of course, the birth of the sun, S-U-N. And the Christians, all they did, they adopted the birth of the Son of God, S-O-N. They just had to change one letter. So,
oh yeah, there's plenty to be said about the Catholic Church and Christianity writ large co-opting these different things. But I suppose I'll leave you with this. I hope, however we choose to define today, or whatever this holiday or non-holiday or whatever else means to us, that you are moving towards a place of making the world a better place. Thank you so much for your time and for giving us a call.